Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends. Seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view our programs, simply type in capital letters RBRIMO, and then put your arrow on videos, and enjoy our programming. I would like to introduce our talented panel. First, we have Miss Jackie Williams.
Hi, Ron. Hi, everyone.
Next, we have Miss Denise Smith Allen.
Hi, Ron. Hello.
And we have the fantastic Mr. Henry Hatter.
Hi, Ron and Jackie and Denise, and I want to congratulate you two ladies on your daughter and granddaughter graduating from colleges.
Son.
And son graduating from colleges with a degree and a useful skill set. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we both will have legacy. Let's talk about why can't America pass immigration reform? My personal opinion is it's I hate to keep bringing this up again. It's racist, plain and simple. All right, we stole half of America from Mexico, and now white folks they know that their gig is up around 2050, 2060. Okay, so it's going to be an ongoing battle, I think. No, I know, and unfortunately, there's going to be some terror involved, okay, before it's all played out. But it doesn't have to be that way. As a person famously said once, why can't we all get along? Denise, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think you made the statement that the immigration is a situation that I don't think that's going to be easily handled because of the political climate in this country. There are people who want to maintain a certain control. And right now we have, as far as politicians are concerned, we have, the major parties, Republican, Democrat. Right now there's a sense of urgency, conservative urgency to try to maintain a control. But it doesn't seem like it's going to bear much fruit in the long run because, you alluded to the fact that the demographics are changing. And with that, there are more and more Hispanic and other people of color, African Americans and all, that are saying this is America, and if people who have been born here, now we're not speaking specifically about those persons who came here illegally, but we're talking about those persons who have actually have been born here. They're being subject to some pretty, for lack of a better word, some racist exposure, to be stopped in a car if you live in Nevada based on your identity and being subject to asking for your papers to see if you are a legal citizen. I mean, that's just not a good thing. And the fact that there's a governor right now who basically kind of supports that kind of behavior, even though, the majority of Americans are saying, we're not for that. You shouldn't be doing that to people. Because it's too reminiscent of what, African Americans have already experienced and are experiencing. So it's a challenge. But you've got certain people that are in control who want to maintain that control. So unless the people rise up and say, we're just not going to have it, and those persons who are quote unquote illegally here, if there is such a word, there's going to be some kind of remedy for those folks, and I'm speaking about those that are honest, hardworking people who are doing some of the jobs that a lot of us don't want to do, and then we've had politicians who have hired some of these folks as nannies and people taking care of their gardens and all kinds of things like that. So it's, like I said, it's a very challenging discussion, to say the least, of all the different scenarios that have played out and are going to continue to play out. But most importantly, this group of folk, and I'm speaking those, Hispanic folk particularly, they're becoming educated, they're becoming empowered, they're learning about the political process, and, I see that there are going to be some changes, but it's going to be heartfelt, and it's going to be a hard fight for them.
Absolutely, because Hispanics, for the majority, are hardworking individuals. Okay, they want a good life, and they should be allowed to have that and obtain those those goals. Again, I use the word racist. All right, America didn't have a problem with with the Irish, all right, with the Polish, with the Jewish, okay, like they're having, like they're having with, with Hispanics, and it's just, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. Henry, what's your thoughts?
Well, Ron, I like what I've heard so far. That there is a problem, and that problem is going to come to a head near the century's midterm somehow. But there's some positive notes in the air, because Hispanic politicians do work to uphold the Constitution of the United States. They oppose illegal immigration. That says a lot about that. The people who are fighting for it are people who are anarchists and people who are young Hispanics who don't know any different than those who come here illegally. But there's a great body of people who want to be here and deserve to be here and will die here because this is their homeland. I agree with that. But the problem with immigration in the country right now is that immigration is constitutional and trained in the Constitution. It's there. You must be born American to qualify under the Constitution to do all the things that we all do as Americans. We would never think of being denied the right to vote or travel from state to state or denying the right to a job or something like that, because that's all guaranteed under the Constitution. Those are what you call rights. They're not opportunities or gifts to us. They're rights. And illegal immigrants don't have those rights.
Henry?
That's what people oppose.
Henry?
Yes.
One question, though. You mentioned that, persons have to be born in the United
Yes.
States. Okay, but there are naturalized citizens. Okay.
You're right.
I
stand corrected. I stand corrected.
Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for.
Yeah, I stand corrected. And I meant those to be included.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
But basically, I can't think of anybody at this table that wasn't born here. That's truly an American. As Americans as apple pie, cornbread, and Chevrolet. And I'm not so sure all of the other people that you bring on here, but I know that this is true. But so we're not to be denied. But since this is intrinsically tied to the Constitution in the eyes of most Americans must be preserved. It must be immutable. And once you begin changing it without due process of the law, you will unravel the whole system in time. So this has to be done in a methodical way. It's got to be done so that America, through an amendment. But it cannot be done just by ignoring the Constitution. You got to do something, or we will unravel this system for our kids and for ourselves.
I don't think they're trying to unravel. I think they're trying to come to a solution. But the funny thing is, this was not a problem until the last election, because they found that more Mexicans had Hispanics, had voted and made a big impact in the election than ever before. Then people spent a lot of analytical time. I don't know what people I'm talking about, Henry. I don't know, but I'm just saying they
They
spent a
were
lot of
favorable to the
time.
Republicans in
No.
Yes, they were.
No.
It depends on where you're
California
looking.
was-
California, Florida. There were certain areas
Yeah.
where you have
Yeah.
a more of a conservative mindset of people of
And I
Latino.
think that's what we're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it became a big problem when they started seeing it as a problem for future elections.
Sure.
And I think that's when it became, well, we're going to just stall this out. Because then you're going to have a problem, because I've been watching not just in this process with immigration, but also the election laws. We're doing everything to set up, back to that, what we talked about earlier, setting things up so that it can work for us, for some people later. Where they're changing laws, where now you're having to do all this other stuff that's, they're finding unconstitutional. You can stop people because they can look like they're, a governor allowed them to stop people because they might be, and they had to rule that out. So, they're just starting to do stuff. So I just really think that we're just doing stuff to protect the power, like Denise said, the power that's already there. And this is something that needs to happen. These people have worked, like the president said, they have worked. They have proved that they are good citizens. We're not talking about bringing in the ones that are having problems with the drugs and all. We're not talking about them. Get rid of them. We got enough of that. We're talking about the ones who have
Well,
come
we're on
here.
the same page.
Right, we're not talking
I
about
think
them.
that Denise started that out.
Yeah, we're not talking about them. We're talking about the ones that are doing good. But we're talking about not to harass them and make them not feel like they're welcome here. They're welcome here. If they're doing good and they're working, and they're acting like a good citizen or a future citizen, then leave them alone. Don't start bothering them because they are a threat in the future.
But I agree with that. It was my turn, remember? Which is okay. I couldn't stop her. She was on a hill, rolling downhill. So I have no problem with the argument there, but I do believe that the Constitution has to be preserved in all costs. And I believe that Hispanics do a great job in helping us to stimulate our economic activity in this country. As Denise has indicated, they work hard in helping to do the things that we don't like to do. And many of us will first agree that there are things that we don't want to do, and we leave it to other people. And they serve, not that they're second best to any other person, but it has to be worked out through the Constitution.
Well, isn't this the same thing that happened during right after slavery, in Reconstruction? Okay, they when African Americans finally got the right to vote, then here they come with all of these poll taxes, and and you had to learn verbatim, all right, the Constitution and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Literacy tests.
This is we're right back to this, and that's in that
Yeah.
that vein.
Sure.
All right, with this immigration reform. Okay, they know that that the Hispanics are going to be a powerful force to reckon with, so they're throwing up all of these barriers. Okay, to prohibit Hispanics. All right,
But when they throw those barriers up, Ron, they're leaving the African Americans alone. We're not even in
Well, that's not the
picture
point.
anywhere.
That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is equality and fairness. All
I know,
right,
I know.
and having integrity, in the political
we do.
process.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Okay, not about you're this color or you're not grasping the English language, etc., etc., etc. It's all about fairness and equality. Should be for everybody.
Right.
All right.
And the one thing you have to consider too, Henry, as you talk about immigration reform, we were the only ones that were forced immigrants. So we're not even in this discussion.
I was
really.
glad to be a forced immigrant.
Well, okay. Look, we're all here by design. Okay, we get that. All right. Okay, some of us probably not necessarily agree with your sentiment.
I know.
But the point still being, we're here now.
They
So
can leave anytime.
they sure can, and so can anybody else for that matter, except for the Native Americans who were here first.
But
Okay.
we were born here. We have no other. We're mixed with other.
Absolutely,
bloodlines.
yeah,
So we belong
absolutely,
here. We
absolutely.
just-
I just thought I'd throw that at
Thought
you.
I'd throw that at
I thought I'd throw that at
Okay.
you. But again, I think that it's really interesting because depending on where our Latino brothers and sisters come from is where their ideology is. Because you've got Cubans who, like I say, some of them are pretty conservative. And then you have others, from the South American countries, they're just glad to be here. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully their experience is such, and they're seeing how the politicians are kind of playing this thing out. But most importantly, having a Latino on the Supreme Court at this time, to me, is such a pivotal experience. And for her to have taken on, in my mind, kind of the position of Thurgood Marshall in terms of being a conscience of the people. It's all of this is like coming together so timely. There's got to be change, but it's not going to be without struggle. So the people are going to have to be prepared, and they have to understand, because if they kind of look at the history from where we sat, because like I said, nothing was given to us, and we're still fighting. But they're coming in with the idea that, all we want to do, like anybody else, we're looking for the American dream. And let it not
there's
be.
nothing that's going to stop the paradigm shift. Nothing.
Oh,
You
absolutely.
can debate this all you want to.
We're not debating it
Yeah,
to
okay.
to that degree.
Just
All
want to know.
I'm saying, yes, we're moving forward, and the demographics are changing. And some people are going to go with the flow, and some people are going with their heels dug in. That's why you have all these militia groups and everything else that have come out of the woodwork, because some folks are not happy, and they're not going to be happy. But progress is progress. Things are changing. We understand that. But I'm saying, as far as this immigration thing, this is so political.
I
This is
appreciate your
so
I appreciate your
political.
remarks.
Okay.
And just to add to what you were saying, the Southern Poverty Law Center, all right, has documented that these militia groups, all right, have doubled, in some cases tripled, since President Obama, was elected. All right, it's ridiculous, and many of them are criminals. All right, I'm a member of the Southern Poverty Law Center. And I would encourage anybody that's interested in that, just to Southern Poverty Law Center. Type in SPLC, and it'll give you updated information. And they're a resource for thousands of police departments, around the country, in terms of alerting them to different gang signs and where these people are practicing their behaviors, their bad behaviors, etc., etc. And moving on along, we're going to change gears here quickly. This is breaking news. All right, Fort Lauderdale homeless plan under fire. Fort Lauderdale's plan to take back the streets from the homeless has church leaders and human rights advocates up in arms. The commissioners in this Florida city have given preliminary approval to a measure that would allow police to confiscate personal possessions left on public property, according to the Sun Sentinel. But the measure has been called a homeless hate law by activists, who note that the people without roofs over their heads have nowhere to keep their few possessions. We're in a sense trying to criminalize people for things that are beyond their control, said the Reverend Gail Tapscott of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fort Lauderdale. I mean, what are these people? What are these people supposed to do? All right. I mean, everything that they have, and we've all seen homeless people and pushing carts, and if you go down to Detroit, the Eastern Market, all right, you see it all the time, under bridges and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we have to do something about this. If it's just one person at a time or one family at a time, we've got to show some humanity, in this, as opposed to just throwing them out like just so much like garbage. All right, and these are human beings. All right, they have feelings. They have mothers and fathers and brothers and sisters and children, and I'm sure for the vast majority of them, they want a better way of life. Whatever it takes, mental health, jobs, whatever, whatever it helps. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, trying to be a bleeding heart or anything like this here, but if I can help somebody, I'm gonna do my damnedest to, to try to assist them. Okay, I mean, I have a family to raise and I got bills to pay, but still, okay, you'd be surprised what you can do with $10 or $15. Okay.
Well, since I'm just hearing about this, I'm kind of at a disadvantage, but it would seem to me in Fort Lauderdale, if they are actually going about trying to enact some kind of laws to prohibit people from leaving their belongings if they have to, say, go to the bathroom or, I can't imagine them leaving their stuff otherwise. I mean, there's got to be a reason why they would leave their things, okay? But if they have to leave their things to go to an appointment,
I was
whatever.
listening to what Denise is saying.
Uh-huh.
She's clarifying something here.
Yeah, okay.
The rights of state versus the rights of the individual.
But my point still being is that there needs to be these activists, if they're engaged in this, and then there has to be some remedy that makes sense. We have the One Stop here in Flint, Michigan, and there are places where they can get their mail delivered. Okay, so if they have like a P.O. box or maybe a place where they can put clothing items or personal papers or things like that, a place where they can put their things, So, and the One Stop is what we have, but maybe they have something like that that's comparable in Fort Lauderdale, and if not, then those activists need to see what they can do to get something like that in place.
Absolutely.
Because that doesn't make sense.
See, I like what Denise has said because, first of all, to push against the system, you're going to get a reaction.
Sure.
It's going to be a really hard reaction. But she says, well, if the law is going to do that, then why not require the law to step forward with a proposed solution? To give them, you just don't take this stuff in confidence.
It's too much like right, Henry.
Yeah?
It's too much like doing right.
Well, that's how the law and democracies are supposed to work. I know the state owns its property, its right-of-ways and stuff like that, and if one person can do it, they can all do it.
But where does the morality come into play?
The morality is just like she says. You got
Exactly.
to recognize the law is there for all of us, and then to and for the state to help them define a way, some place for them to do exactly what you say needs to be done.
Well, they should,
Yeah,
if this
them.
is true, okay.
But you have to have a body like a church or some responsible group or advocacy group that can step forward and with enough vision and presence that they can speak for these people.
A relationship.
A relationship.
Gotta
And
have a relationship.
a defined spot, place,
Then you
somewhere.
become a mentor, a model for other cities who need the same thing.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. All right. This is good discussion.
Well, I just hope that the commissioners in Florida will see the light and like Denise was saying, designate a place for these people that need this help, especially the churches. All right, but I mean, you would think that the churches would take a stand and without having to go through all of this, because I'm sure the issues were there long before the city really got involved. Okay.
Ron, could I ask you to ask people to call in from churches and institutions to give us some guidance on this, so that we know how talk to our audience who find
Absolutely.
themselves in a similar situation. Let somebody
Absolutely.
step forward to talk to them. You've got the phone
We
number.
can do that. Okay, but there's a process we have
Oh,
to
okay.
do. We
I
have to
think
use.
you can appeal to them anyway.
You know,
Denise
but-
has got a good point.
But we will bring this conversation again, and so that we do have feedback on our issues. That's coming up real soon. All right. But any last words on on the homeless?
No, but I would like to say again, I appreciate sitting by two smart ladies whose kids have graduated from colleges. I don't always get that opportunity.
Well, what about me?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Shoot me to the curb.
I like sitting by you, Ron.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You are
thank
right.
You,
You are
thank you,
right.
Thank you.
Boy,
Well,
I tell
this
you.
has been a lively and very enlightening conversation. Again, if you can help somebody out there, please help that person. Okay, and I'm sure you'll feel better about yourself. But until next time, this is Ronald Berry Robinson and friends for the In My Opinion show. Stay focused.